this is an enormous crisis in Lebanon that's been in the making, as you know, for many years. And the fact that the government is now having to face enormously stark choices. It's not going to be easy because the body politic in Lebanon is totally intertwined in all commercial activities. And the IMF is probably having to not just grasp the nettle, but being more firm, I think, than it might normally be in other countries with such economic stress. And there's such a almost synchronous number of issues affecting Lebanon. Obviously, COVID virus is the latest one. But one of the issues which you haven't touched on, I've been watching your own coverage, is the fact that this summer, normally Lebanon, in terms of the overall economy, is helped by many families, tens of thousands of families returning for the summer. And that tourism this year will be almost negligible. So the inflow of dollars, which would normally happen, which would help to bolster the dollar supply into the country, will be negligible. And I think that the government so far hasn't really grasped what it has to do, because to do so would be to undermine itself in terms of the political parties. So I'm not quite sure where we're going to stand here this week, next week, in terms of discussions. The IMF are going to have to be tougher and say, look, we need to see more. But the central bank has done what it can so far in gathering up the dollars that are available and cutting in terms of the supply of the outflow of dollars by cutting a lot of goods coming into Lebanon. So what's left is really the majority of available currency is paying for food and dollars.
One question for you. I mean, folks that I'm talking to who are on the ground in Lebanon, they're calling their dollars lollars at this point, right? So is it a good idea, do you think, to go ahead and spend the lollars if it's possible, given the fact that we've seen this currency plunge and there doesn't seem as if there is a plan, at least in the short term, to stem the flow? Spend your lollars, perhaps, is the key?
Yeah, if you have any dollars at all, you keep them. And I think that there's no way in which you can properly manage to loosen the supply of dollars into the market. I think there'll be minimal supply by the central bank to ensure payment of fuel for power stations and for vehicles and for food. These are priorities and medicines. So anyone I know, and you know, people, they're not going to be spending any foreign currency in terms of Lebanese pounds, buying any assets at all. It reminds one a little of what's happened in Venezuela, Argentina to an extent. It's the first country outside Yemen to have seen this kind of major crisis. And I think that there's lots of really good brains, I have to say, in the Lebanese financial sector, enormous, and you see them across the region and elsewhere. And they're coming up with solutions. But the fact that the central bank is trying to manage this crisis, where itself and its own integrity has been under some question because of its involvement in the creation of the system with the banks over some years. So I think that we need some new thinking, and I think the body politic in Lebanon is going to have to give way and allow the IMF to do what it would have to do in terms of its advice.